friend.
Thank you. I love you.
I love you too.
Oh.
I think a big part of the communication issues, you can't handle contextual decision making, and that's all I know how to do.
I think our stress levels the last 3 weeks have exasperated previous issues too.
Yeah. Coco, out.
Okay. I am late. I am sorry. I may or may not be completely incapable of finding a camera cord, so you get to deal with seeing my face today. Sorry. And apparently someone turned up my speakers. Thank you for the subs, Fava. Okay. So we're desk hunting. I am sorry. The office is a nightmare. Look, there's a lot of laundry in my house, okay? I am trying to adjust this so you guys can see the unicorn. Sort of. Come on. Behave. There. Ta-da! Working. Hi, Junie! Thank you for the sub! How are you? Middle of filming, but... Aw, thank you. Please don't screw up your filming. Like I did see Unicorn. We have to fix somebody's ear. Jesus! Flying! Anonymous my ass, Junie! Thank you for the host, Junie. Thank you very much. Where is my flipping seam ripper? Oh, come on, I don't want to send this thing out like this. I own 6 of them, I swear. No, I don't. 1, 2. I broke 2. You don't have any bits, sure. That was not Junie. Okay. Thank you for the sub, baby. You sub me, I sub you. We both break even. Yes, we do. So I'm removing a unicorn's ear. And I'm not happy with this because I got it on there good. And I've got to hand sew it in place back a little further. No stabby. No stabby the Kimmy. Tanari, whatever you want to call it. Look, I'm not concerned about my nickname getting out on the internet. Apparently, 2/3 of people can't spell it properly anyway, so, you know, we're good. Still don't know how they can't spell that one properly, but... So how is everyone else's couple of weeks gone? Thank you, Anon. If you were trying to set up the tiger, you miscounted and I appreciate it. Because I don't have booze in here and maybe I should. Come on, come loose. Bloody ear. Bloody ear was a sentiment, not a prophetic. Please don't stab me. Almost. Almost. Oh, that's right. Was thorough. That's what. Just an FYI for new sewers, okay? If you think this is a failure, where you've got to rip a seam and start again, it's not, and let me tell you why. I got that thing loose without any damage to the fabric of the ear or the horse. Do you have any idea how much practice that took? A lot. And no, I never rip seams for the fun of it. Oh, that's what happened. That's one of those thread jams. It got moved because there was a thread jam that scooted the ear. That explains a lot. Sometimes when you're ripping seams, you can actually punch a little hole. And I don't mean a thread-sized hole. I mean something roughly the size of... That's the wrong camera. That much of my pinky, okay? That little bitty tip of the pinky nail. Holes that big, you cannot sew that over again. Oh God, we have a hype train. Oh dear. I just now noticed that. Is there some way to put an alert up when a sub-tray starts? Hype train, whatever. Because if there is, I don't know. And I think I need one because I'm trying not to bleed over here. Gonna scoot this back a bit. The scare line was just a bonus, damn it. Thank you for the level 1 hype train. God. That will certainly improve my payment next month. Speaking of which, is that my... That's not my dog. God, that sure looks like my dog, though. I know chat, specifically a couple special individuals in chat, ensured that I got payout enough to get a membership to the museum and the zoo for my kids, right? Well, we looked at it and we are not doing the museum membership because they have much stricter requirements for the social distancing and mask wearing, and one of my children, that is going to ruin the experience. Like, he frickin' hates things on his face, and his feet, and his hands, but those are beside the point right now. And wearing a mask into the museum is just gonna frickin' suck for him. But the zoo does not have such strict requirements. They are big on the social distancing, but their requirements otherwise are mostly, please stay outside as much as you possibly can. As long as you're outside, we would prefer you wear masks, but it is not required. And be patient, there will be lines. That we can handle. Doesn't even remotely affect how any of my kids interact with the world around them. So, that's what we're going with, is a membership to the zoo. The museum one, it's just, we're not going to go that often. We might take a couple of kids once or twice, but not enough to warrant the membership. Okay, we've got a hole in his head. An appropriate sized hole in his head. And I swear, if someone took off with my sewing needles, I'm going to be very irritated. And that's the nice word. Oh, I also have this for Spava. I will bring it as soon as I can. But right now I am part of the keep the kids from accidentally killing themselves train until the air conditioner gets fixed, so... yeah. I will get it to you as soon as I can. Remind me to hand over the candy. Okay. Well, see, in that case, we may just make a trip down there, a special trip to get the kids out of the house. You know, when I'm not concerned that the storms are going to put me on the side of the road somewhere. Fun, 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 fun. Oh, there's the needles. Okay, so we got the thread. We got the appropriate thread. I've got a buggered up knee. Stay. Go over here. We get the needles. And we work from there. Where is the... Why do I do this to myself? Just leave those there for now. There you are. Come on, come on, out. So the biggest aggravation with making these dolls, and look what else I found in that needle box. I am my worst nightmare, I swear. Another thing I have found with these dolls is that, unfortunately, the thick, easy-to-find needles don't go through this fleece very well at all. They're terrible. They jam, they hurt, they do not like going through this stuff, let alone multiple layers. So I gotta use these inky-dinky tiny, I suspect these are intended for embroidery needles for this. Which is really, really nerve-wracking when I'm putting limbs on, because you've seen me put the limbs on. We have a stab counter because I put the limbs on. How's your week, Svava? Are you drinking yet? I know you were close this morning. Or should have been. Oh, good. Junie's recording. I swear I'm going to get those things in the drive, whatever the hell that is, Junie. I promise. Damn it. The stuffing caused a knot. Well, I guess that's how much thread we're working with. Fine. It'll work. So we're going to finish the unicorns. We have this one, and then we have the one for Fairy's channel. I still don't know who won that, but I'll get an address for whatever when it's finished to get done. And then after those are done, I have an order, a paid order, for a penguin, which is a new pattern. That's going to be new. I actually don't even know how I'm going to frickin' do that yet, but I will look at pictures of penguins and figure that one out. But we got the penguin, and then unless I get more paid orders, I'm going to need to work on some dress clothes, because we went to church this week, and yeah, guess what I don't got anymore? On a bright note, my church is very informal in general. Just, I really shouldn't wear the shorts with holes in them to church. That's not a great idea. It's certainly not a great example to my children. Because, yeah, that's not how I want them going to church ever. But I've got the stuff here to make a couple of dresses, which is all I really need for the time being. Because I'm not going every Sunday. We're still trying to get the kids back into a routine. I usually go on Wednesdays now, and Wednesdays are not formal. Not even remotely. Like, people show up in everything from workout clothes to pajamas, because we've got lives and jobs. And the one that showed up in pajamas has to get up at work at like 4 in the morning to go pick up kids for school. So she drives a school bus. Nobody was going to give her any crap about showing up in pajamas, okay? She was covered and ready for bed. Jehoshaphat! Thank you for the host crafting, Bunny! How are you? If you're here. I think you're here. I made a knot again. Okay. There we go. Ta-da! Also, I appreciate everyone's understanding for last week, because, yeah, that sucked. Nothing quite like getting my 6-year-old out of bed at 4 a.m., which didn't bother him anywhere near as much as it did me. Y'all have seen those cartoons where, like, somebody gets out of bed and they're actually getting out of a toaster? Just pop! They're up! Yeah, that was my kid. At 4 a.m. I'm like, really, son? Hi, Crafting! Were you streaming tonight? Okay, cool. Look, they match now. They go the right way. The next problem is this horse getting red eyes or white eyes? And I am actually aiming toward red. Just because of there's no white anywhere on this dang thing, like, at all. Yay for matching. Okay. Yeah, we're probably gonna go with matching then. Right now we're fixing an ear because this one got on crooked and I had to pop it off and put it back on the right way. We hit a thread snag sewing it on the first time and I did not realize it had scooted the ear. So we popped it off. We're sewing it back in place where it belongs. Sewing up the hole. And then we'll put his eyes on and set him aside and start working on the white one. Because even if I felt like using my sewing machine tonight, which may or may not be a problem, because there's, look, I've been cleaning to recover from the last 2 weeks. My camera's not over there because somebody relocated that camera cable. And I can't actually tell you who it was because somewhere between pre-op... Thank you. They are cute. Somewhere between pre-op and surgery 2 days later, someone came in here and poured an entire litter box on my floor. If you are not daddy, you better get your little butt back to bed. Buddy, go to bed. They are not dirty. Go to bed. If they're wet, they're wet. Go to bed. They're wet. Go to bed. It's fine. Go to bed. Said 6-year-old. Yeah, he's trying to tell me his night braces are dirty, and yes, there's some mud on them. He'll deal. Until tomorrow when we wash them. They're still getting back into their... Yeah. They're still getting back into their routine. We had, one surgery last week, another surgery the week before, and now our air conditioner's broken, so their whole routine has gone skew-eyed, and they're not used to it. I believe the other one you can hear in the background is upset because his braces won't come off. Again, that child hates having anything on his feet. Yeah, no, but he has to wear them. They actually just finished getting their feet stretched back into place because they weren't wearing their braces like they were supposed to. It's either that or they outgrew them and I didn't catch it fast enough. The doctor can't really tell me which one was the problem. But we fixed it. We stretched their tendons back out, and they have to wear those braces at night to keep them that way. So yeah, he's not happy with me. He hates things on his feet. Frankly, the boy hates wearing clothes at all. But he has come to understand sometimes there are rules and clothes are required. Like, going outside. That's required. 2 seconds. I'm going to go close that door again because I think someone forgot to. They're loud. Yeah, no. So Thursday, I walked in here. I wasn't sure if I had the energy to stream or not. Walked in here to do something else that I probably should have done and didn't want to do on my phone. And my floor was covered in cat litter, and I swear I heard Ash Caravan's F this, I am out soundbite in the back of my head as I closed my door. There was no way. We've gotten it cleaned up since, but yeah. Thursday sucked. Except for the child who got surgery. He had no problems. He was good. His biggest issue was he had to fit at me because we had to leave the hospital tablet at the hospital with all the cool games on it. Meanwhile, I'm sitting here subsisting on espresso and panic. Okay, so there's his ears. They are back in line like they're supposed to be. We're going to find that red fabric wherever the bloody heck I put it this time. Or someone else put it. Oh, look, there's a scrap that's big enough. And we're going to cut out some eyes. The eyes are supposed to be roughly the size of a dime, I believe. Yes, because a nickel's too big. So, while I do have pattern pieces for the eyes that show how big they're supposed to be and all that, I don't use them for my personal use because I lose them every flipping time. They are just tiny, hard to keep track of pieces. But, yes, matching looks better. Much. We have eyes. Neat. And then wings and tutus are going to have to wait. Probably for, the hell day is it? Tuesday? Thursday. Provided I actually finish both unicorns before then. But those aren't hard. We've already got the wings sewn. Like, they're sewn. They don't have their straps put on them yet to go around the chests. Oh, no. Back, down. And then, tutus. Tutus are easy. They're straightforward. They are a concerning level of tulle, some elastic, and some blanket binding. All of which I believe I possess. Bad. Come back here. Whee. And then I think if I manage to do it before we start Vamp, or even if we don't, because honestly Vamp runs for nearly a year. I am supposed to do a squirrel for the vampire game. Also, the bat, I don't know if Stream was aware or most of Stream was aware, but the bat that I made for Junie actually went to Cymerk. I've been told that bat will make appearances on the Vampire the Masquerade streams on Saturdays, which start up again, Junie? What the hell's the date for that again? Hold on. I have a calendar, I swear. Keyboard. Cal. No, not cac. Cal. Calendar. I believe we start on the 29th of this month. We have like 2 weeks left before Vampire starts up again. And in that game, I am a Keosid this time, who can turn into a squirrel or a surprise larger weaponized creature. But my Keosid has a single life goal. A single real tenement of faith, of life. And that is, she's supposed to sparkle, damn it. And I eat other vampires. I'm gonna pay for this season so hard, and I know it. And I'm okay with that. Because I started last season as a fucking UPS package, and I will make her pay for that. But I was instructed by many of the players and my children. By the way, my children do know that I play a game with my friends where only one of them actually understands what a vampire is. But I play a game with my friends where I pretend to be a vampire. And when I told him I was going to be a vampire that can turn into a squirrel and likes glitter, he's like, wait, you're going to make a glitter squirrel? I was like, yeah. And then several players were like, no, you need to make a squirrel. A glittering squirrel. So I'm making a squirrel. That flippin' glitters. For me, it is mine. Damn it, I dropped an eye. But first I have to get through paid commissions and church clothes. Because yes, I actually need I need a skirt or something. I mean, jeez. The problem is I'm losing weight. And as I lose weight, a lot of my clothes... Okay, there's two problems. I'm losing weight, and I didn't bother to replace anybody's clothes in 2020 because no one left the house. Like, I went to the grocery store and the post office. Let me tell you something. If you still have a problem going to the post office or the grocery store in your pajamas, you won't have that many kids yet. I hit a point in my life once upon a time when I had 3 children under the age of 6, where I just kind of went, I'm wearing a bra and I'm wearing shoes. They can get over it. I think I did this a little bit wrong, and I'm going to have to loop back. I used the wrong stitch. So here. The stitch I'm using is just a basic whip stitch right now. That's not actually how I'm supposed to do this with the eyes, because they have... some of the fabrics I use for contrast are not fleece. They have unraveling edges, so it's literally just a whip stitch. Give me a second, and I'll show you how I'm supposed to do this, because I'm going to have to go over it again. So that's how the whip stitch works, right? Just over the edge over and over again. And this little lesson here tells me I do in fact need a 4K camera for this position of my computer. Brilliant! It can wait. But that's it. It's just going over the edge. What I'm supposed to do here, because of the raw edges... Come on, come there. Is this. I go under, like I would for the whip stitch. And the thread goes under the needle. Like that. Okay, the needle's over the pulling thread. So it does this and kind of locks the raw edge down. That's what I'm supposed to be doing. And I'm actually supposed to go going from inside the eye to the out. So that goes along the edges, not the interior. So, yeah, I wasn't paying attention when I screwed up. Give me a minute. So this one's going to have a little extra thread on its eye, that's fine. But yeah, that's how I'm supposed to do this, is put this over. Under the needle so it pulls down. And it's really hard to see it on this one, the black. And I know that. But what that does is it pulls the thread over in a line over the top, while sewing the edge down. And it just holds it a lot more secure and prevents fraying. Or, as one of my children clarified for me when he got a hold of a seam ripper, a toy, and some embroidery scissors, which I have since safe placed and have no idea where the hell I put. It also prevents the child from easily cutting stitches. on the flipping eye. I say as I make yet another knot in the thread. This is not the night, apparently, for this. But I'm not bleeding yet. I haven't stabbed myself yet. We still have another doll to work on. Will you please untangle? This is ridiculous. There's no need for this problem. None. Nope, that's just not going to behave. Okay. Well, apparently the thread is knotted itself, and I have to go over it again anyway, so we're just going to do that. This is not my week with the thread. I don't know what the hell. Maybe the thread is jealous because I've been knitting so much. That's got to be it. I don't think I even have my knitting in here. I'd show you what I've been working on. I'll show you Thursday. I don't know where I set it this time. I had to safe place it after the last round of knitting. And I'm working with some... I want to show it off anyway, because I am working with some gorgeous stuff that Small Bacon bought me a while ago, and I don't think he understood when he bought it just what a big deal the kind he bought was going to be, because I didn't know. But it showed up, and my skin likes to flip the hell out. We have learned that it is a combination of dry skin and stress levels. In the winter, it gets much worse because of the dry air out down here. But stress causes it, where my skin will not put up with a lot of fabrics. Like, we're talking cotton t-shirts it won't put up with. For days or weeks at a time. Depending on what's causing it, I can't fix it until the stress drops down. If it's the dry skin, then I have to moisturize and coconut oil, and yeah, that's a whole different concern. But if it's stress, then I have to fix the stress, and sometimes that's not viable. But the stuff he sent me, as soon as I touched it, I knew that was not going to be a problem. This is like a silky blend. I'm actually turning it into the patterns for a bikini top, but I'm making a bra, okay? It's the same flipping thing. A bikini is a bra and panties out of swim, mother of Hades. Swim safe fabric. In this case, it is the equivalent of lingerie. That's just what I'm doing. Because I ain't swimming in a bikini anytime soon. Not swimming, you know. A hot tub with my husband, sure. Why not? That's actually part of the point, is, assuming things work their way out in the next couple of years, because, like, look, if income does not work itself out in the next couple of years, we've got much bigger issues than our 15-year anniversary. But 15-year anniversary, the point is to take a trip by ourselves, just us, for a couple days, like a weekend thing, for our 15th anniversary. And that's what I'm working on, is lingerie for that trip. Because if we're actually going out for the 15th year anniversary, the amount of things our marriage has survived at this point, like, I'm going all out, damn it. There, see, now you can see where the little line of thread, sorry, the camera's backwards, has been pulled across the edge, and it kind of bubbles the edge a little bit, but it really locks in the raw edge. And this fabric, most fabrics I use are a woven, and it's not that big of a deal if you get it locked in good. But this is knitted stretch fabric, so I need to lock in the edges anyway, because it will stretch over time if I don't. And slick fabrics, like, I think that's gossamer? No, it's not gossamer. What was that called? That fabric starts with a CH, I don't remember what it is. But what I used to cover the horn, and for the wings, and what I'm using for the tutu, that stuff is super slippery, so a raw edge on that stuff has to be locked in really good. Or the whole thing will unravel in a couple of weeks. Like, I've watched it unravel when I haven't touched it, it's just sitting on a shelf. It's just super slick. So this locks it in really good and gives it a more finished edge on the eyes. Normally, I do actually use fleece for this part, but I don't have red fleece. Not that would work for this. I have like this neon salmon looking color up there. But, you know, red's not a color I've had to use very often. And it's not one my children have requested, so I don't have it on hand. And if I was doing... I used it for the accent fabric, the knit fabric. If I was doing a whole animal in red, I'd have gone to Joann's, okay? The main animal is fleece for several very good reasons. Eventually, we will get around to mending the stuffed animals my kids have had for a while on stream. I kind of have to find a few limbs before I can make that happen. Somebody played tug of war with the dog again. With things he should not have. And I have to find the limbs that need sewn back on. Okay, come on. It's actually one of my 4-year-old's absolute favorite games right now is Tug of War with the dogs. And I'm actually surprised Coco will play with him. Because Coco does not... she's not fond of Tug of War with the children. Because she's a pit mix. They just can't take the strength she puts behind it. Apparently, the toddler will get his hands loose and go right back for the toy. So it's actually a race to get the toy away from him before he grabs it again. And she does like to play fetch, and we have finally taught the 4-year-old how to play fetch with her. So when he actually wins and gets the toy, he will chunk it down the hallway for her, and she loves that. The harder the better. We just had to learn to aim away from the television set because, Coco's broken a few things playing fetch. She goes where the ball goes, or the ring. It's a ring, a donut of silicone that she plays with. Where it goes, she goes, and what may or may not be in the way does not always register. She's broken chairs. Stepped on something once and broke it too. I don't remember what it was. Not terribly important if it was on the floor. But, yeah, no, she follows that thing wherever the hell it goes. And breaks shit in her bath. Okay. So not the most professional look in the world because I had to double back over it, but we're putting this down one more time. And then tying it off, putting the knot off of the red. But you can see how that comes across a little better. Tying the knot on the black, not on the red. And then we pull it through. This is to kind of hide the knot. And then that is not enough thread to do that again. So, where'd the other eyeball go? on the printer. Think. For the record, no, I will not be modeling lingerie on stream. That is what Susan's for. She will show off the lingerie I have sewn. I will do no such thing. Because toss and my marriage and murder. Anyone who's ever gone walking through Walmart or the mall with me knows what the murder would entail. I don't like guys that hit on me, whistle at me, catcall me. I'm not terribly nice about it. I mean, I could get my children to do it, Svava, but, you know, I'd like to get it back. If I let, you know, kid 2 do it, I'm never getting whatever he touched back. New textures, new shapes, new ribbons, new fabrics. It's gone. So gone. I actually have a fishnet fabric hiding back there that the little booger will not leave alone. He keeps pulling it down. I think when I bought it, I intended to turn it into like a mini dress or something. Again, lingerie. And he found it, and he's like, you're not using this for anything anymore, Mom. This is a fishing net, and it is mine. And I keep taking it from him because that was expensive fabric. No, let go. Trying to put your eye on. Come on, calm down. Unless you want to go all piratey. But that was not the order. So deal. Now I think the white one I actually have to hand sew the horn on, because I did not do it before I put the mane on. I like the horn sewn on by the machine. That's a lot more professional, but I am uncertain how to make that work with the mane at this point, because that's a new thing. I haven't done that before. So I need to probably look back at pictures of the other unicorn to figure out how I did that before I sent it off to Fairy. But it's too late for these two. The mane is already on. And there is no hair on the penguin. That's the next one I've got to do is the penguin. There's no hair. Is penguin. No hair. I imagine that one's probably going to make an appearance on Vampire at some eventual point too, because that is also for Sai, who was so excited about the bat when I talked to her that she had completely missed the part where she was in the conversation when Bagan ordered that penguin, okay? I was a little surprised there. I'm like, wait, what? No, she apparently got loud when she won the bat. I don't understand the excitement over these dolls most of the time. And that's fine. I just, created them for toddlers. And the excitement keeps coming from adults and or my own children. Which, okay, those ones I understand. Like, he's going on 11 and he still finds and occasionally sleeps with his teddy bear that I made him when he was 3? Yeah, he was 3 when I made that one. Bacon Bear. We are probably starting the new stream schedule this week. And I will make notes down there, but you guys saw how late I got on today. And a lot of that is just getting the kids in bed. Takes time, and they're older, and they don't go to bed at frickin' 7 o'clock unnecessarily anymore. They usually get down by 8, and, you know, even when that goes smoothly, it's loud. So we will probably start doing Sunday, Tuesday, and Thursdays at 8 to 10. And what that is we are starting half an hour later and adding a stream in. But the half hour later is just, I parent, and parenting is more important than streaming. I love you guys, but, you know, I'm not responsible for your care and well-being. I mean, friends, yeah, I'll be responsible to some extent for friends. But obviously I don't feed you people. Not responsible for feeding you. You do that to yourself. Yeah. You guys feed and clothe yourselves, okay? Your medical care is your own problem, not mine. The short things that live in my house, not so much. I mean, technically I'm not responsible for my husband either, but, you know, I explained that to him a long time ago. It was, look, if I'm doing this for everyone else in the house, you kind of just fall in the box, alright? I care about you. I don't want you dead. And I take care of everyone else's care. When the kids are older, that might back off a bit. Because, like, Bacon Boy is actually taking... deliberately and insisting on taking a bit more active of a role in his own care. He wants responsibilities, and he understands why the medical care has to happen, so he wants to be responsible for his care. So we let him in reasonable amounts. Because he's almost 11. He's getting on toward an age where he needs to learn how to take care of himself, even if that doesn't look like normal people taking care of themselves. Hell, it's 2021. It doesn't look like normal people taking care of themselves for anybody anymore. Before 2020, it was not considered healthy or taking care of yourself to spend 6+ months never leaving your house. Was certainly not considered normal or healthy to work as much as the people who did have to leave their house every day did. Pretty sure it's still not considered healthy. Necessary, maybe, but not healthy. Alright, that is one black, flaming... I don't think flaming was a word she used to describe it. Evil unicorn. All finished. 2 years late. It's okay. Jess was more than accommodating for the fact that, you know, she won this thing right after my children were diagnosed with a terminal illness. She's like, yeah, no, take your time. Whenever you get it done. So, yeah, 2 years later. I think it's more than 2 years. I don't remember. Well, I think it's just been 2. Because he missed his first year of camp because COVID. So, yay. We are done. Whee! We just need a tutu and wings, and we will take care of that after I don't have another half dozen loose horse pieces on my desk. So give me 1 second to get over here and get some stuffing and the parts and the correct colored thread. Well, that's not one I made. Get out of here. And a pencil sharpener and a coat that I told someone to put away. And yeah, my desk is a mess. Yes, it is. Yes, it is. 1, 2. Oh, look, there's the other flipping. Seam ripper. White thread, come on. Okay, clearly whoever came in here and poured cat litter across my floor also tried to clean up after themselves. That was on my thread rack. That's empty. That may have been Bacon Boy, too. He earned some money by helping clean that up, because I hurt myself over the time at the hospital. So he earned $5 by helping clean up that disaster. And by helping, I mean he did most of the work, because I was in no remote shape to do any such thing. Okay. We're going to start sans stuffing because this thing's head is not on. And again, I don't trust myself with my machine tonight, so... No, let go of the finger. So what I'm going to do, because I do not want to get this on crooked, is I'm going to find a couple of pins. I'm going to mark out the stop and start points and make sure it lines up this time. I haven't done a horse in a long time. Like, I'm pretty sure the last one I did was the one I sent Fairy. So, yeah, it took a little work to figure out again. Because I still haven't written down the effing directions for these things. I actually have to go back and watch the VODs after I do these to figure out how the hell I did it. Because I've been making these for so long, it's either a memorized process or trial and error for a new pattern. There's not been a lot of I've only done this once or twice kind of patterns. That's not a thing. We're getting some. I've drawn how many new patterns since I started streaming? I think it's been like 3. Possibly more, I don't remember. It's not the day for me to remember, if we're honest. Okay, so we've got this all lined up so it gets centered and all that fun jazz. Now we begin sewing and leaving a hole for stuffing. We're using a very different stitch for this. This is a double back. And you may notice that I just sewed a pin in place. So this pin is going straight down. So that sewing around it isn't actually going to cause a problem. It'll come right out. Now this one back here at the back that is meant to keep it straight, centered for the back of the neck where the mane lines up, that one will be a problem if I sew around it because that is in sideways. That can actually screw this up really bad. So I gotta be careful on that end, but that is strictly to ensure this ends up centered and lined up properly. Over here, these ones are marking where I start and stop, so it doesn't matter how I put them in. Because sewing the head on all the way and then being unable to turn it right side out ends in yet another spat with the seam ripper. And frankly, I'm getting tired of seeing my seam rippers. I realize I just said having to use your seam ripper is not in fact a failure, it is practice, but there comes a point when you are really, really sick of doing the same damn thing over and over again. Yeah! I say while I stab myself doing the same damn thing over and over again. I'm okay. I'm okay. Okay, see, this is how the other ends could screw me up really bad. The bottom half of the needle just caught thread. If I leave it like that, you guys can't see for shit with this camera. There it is. There it is. There. Come on, turn the correct. Come on. There. So the thread caught, if you can see the thread line, it's right there, caught the bottom of the pin. And that will actually screw up because if I leave that there, then when I pull that pin out, it's going to pull a gap in the neck. So I just hooked it off and pulled it off the pin. But I have to be careful with that, and that can leave a pretty epic gap if that happens with the back of the neck. So I have to be careful. Normally, I leave the stuffing and turning gap under the mane at the back of the neck, but that was the part that I used to center it before. And I don't feel like fussing with it tonight, so we're just going to do this backwards. The fleece usually does not show the different stitching used to stitch up a seam. At least not the way I do it. It is entirely possible for that to be a problem, but the fleece does actually hide a pretty good amount of small mistakes. And it's a handmade product. Small mistakes are going to happen. That's just life. The joy of a crafter. You know, like that one earring that Fairy made me that pissed her off so bad because the stone was like a couple millimeters different in size from its buddy. And every time she shipped that earring back to me in shipping, the stone would pop out. And I think I sent it back like 3 times for her to fix it, and it kept popping out, and it pissed her off. And I finally told her, because she was so upset she could not get another stone of that type. She just couldn't. Those were the last 2 she had, and she couldn't get them anymore. And I finally told her, if that's the problem, then just send it back and I'll pop the damn thing in once in a while. Well, fast forward a minimum of 6 months. I think it may actually have been a year and a half, roughly. And my children have gotten into my jewelry box. And I found this out because I found one earring next to the toilet by itself. So I got online with Fairy, and I'm like, I don't even care if they're not the same colors anymore. I need a new pair of these earrings. How much will this cost me? And I told her what happened and why I needed them. Because I was just going to keep the extra one as a spare at that point. So she goes, nope, I got this. I'll let you know how much it is when I'm done. So she made 2 brand new earrings. And shipped them to me. And I'm like, what the hell am I supposed to pay you? Because she didn't tell me they were done. They just showed up at my doorstep and she said, Merry Christmas. I'm like, really, Fairy? She's like, look, the amount of orders you guys have made in the last few years. Seriously. No, he's autistic. The one that got a hold of it, I'm pretty sure, is the autistic child, and he doesn't entirely understand how the world works. But Fairy got a hell of a laugh out of it, let me tell you. And she didn't even ask if I found the other earring or not. She made the same assumption I did. That sucker went down the toilet. It did not actually go down the toilet. I found it, which is the other reason I'm pretty sure it was that child. I found it, the stone and the earring itself that were missing, in his pile of treasures, where he sticks things he doesn't want us to take from him, whether he's supposed to have it or not. And every once in a while I find said pile while I'm cleaning. Because he's 8. Like, I don't expect an 8-year-old, or anything younger or even slightly older, to properly clean their bedroom every time, right? You give it 6 months and you're going to go in there and it's not cleaned as well as you think it is. Or as well as it looks. That's just, they're children, right? They're not going to look behind the shelf. They're not going to look under their dresser. They don't do that when they clean. Hell, I barely do that when I clean. And that's where I found it. He had apparently been sitting there trying to get the stone back in the earring. I'm assuming that's the one that had a loose stone in it. And couldn't get it to do it, but I didn't find it for months. Like, well after Fairy had sent me those earrings. And she got a good laugh at it. We both, because we joked when I bought the first pair that the kids were going to love these things, and sure enough. Like, these are the same kids that try and take off with everything I order from Fairy. Because it's shiny, and it's durable, and they flipping know it. And I think with the one kid, it feels cool. Because chainmail feels weird. It does not feel like most jewelry, right? It's loose. It moves. It's got its own special texture, and it's smooth and bumpy at the same time. And yeah, no, I totally get it. It feels cool to him. And it's shiny. It's always shiny. Because I don't buy shiny jewelry very often, because it's usually not durable enough for my life. Right? Yeah. I have to have really durable jewelry, so most of my stuff is stainless steel or nothing. Except for the few things that Don's bought me that he's fairly confident I won't break. And I say fairly confident for a reason, okay? He makes wire wrap jewelry. Or did. When he was younger, it was a hobby. Wire wrap jewelry. He would make jewelry for me. Somehow, I still don't know how. He doesn't know how. I managed to break an uncut crystal. I think it was an emerald crystal. Uncut, unpolished, raw emerald. For it to fall out of a ring. It had to break to come out of that ring. And it was very much, how the hell did you do that? Where I'm sitting here going, I don't know. I don't even know when it happened. So yeah, he's very thorough about what he buys me. It's either very durable or it's got a hell of a warranty on it. Yeah, she actually sent the one kid, I asked her, if you've watched her stream for a decent amount of time, you've probably seen her chainmail sampler. Well, I asked her how much it would get to have one of those made for me. Because Little Ninja 2, Child 2. He loves ribbony things. He loves chains. And this is literally a ring with like 50, I think, different chainmail chains on it. Examples of chainmail chains. And I asked her how much that would cost, and to tell me how much it would cost to get one made, and she's like, I'll have to look at it and figure it out, which I get. That was a sampler. It was the equivalent of a stitching sampler that they used to do long ago when you were learning the craft. An embroidery sampler was a picture that had samples of every embroidery stitch you learned in it. All the basics. That's basically what this was for a chainmail. Was a sampler. She sent me hers. And I'm like, Fairy, please, price. And she's like, I'm not going to sit down and make another one of those. But I would really much rather he have it than have it sitting here collecting dust on my desk. And I argued with her for days about that, and she would not budge. Yeah. I don't have anything like that for my crafts, but that's... Like, my sewing is very, very basic. I get that the things I make are not super basic, but my actual sewing stitches and skills, not fancy. They're just not. It's basic, it's utilitarian, ta-da. That's what I got. My knitting has not advanced beyond basic stitches yet. That's not true. I can do non-basic stitches, but I learned one at a time over years upon years. That's a good use for it, yeah. Yeah! I've been stabbed again. I'm not bleeding on this unicorn. I was allowed to bleed on the last one. I'm not bleeding on the white one. No! I actually should probably do a stitching sampler for the embroidery stitches as I go. Because I used to do some very ouchie, again, basic embroideries when I was younger. Like, my great-grandmother taught me how, but I didn't sew. I didn't do that stuff. I learned to learn, and because, I'm sorry, when your great-grandmother sits down to teach you something, unless it is horribly against your belief system, religion, or livelihood, you sit down and you damn well learn it, okay? And by God, I did. I learned a lot of things that way, the very beginnings of a lot of things that way. Applique, which is the act of embroidery where you fold the edge under as you go. I'm not good at it. Not even close. Grandma was a goddess when it came to any embroidery skill that went into quilting, because she hand quilted for 60 years. Minimum. By hand. A machine did not so much as kiss her quilts until long into my teen years. And even then it was because her eyes were starting to go. And I do mean go. She couldn't thread a needle anymore and it pissed her off so bad. Embroidery took 10 times as long as it should, by her count. You know, if she sat me down to embroider, 10 times was a nice, generous number. But by her count, her embroideries took so much longer than they should have, and I'm sitting here going, Grandma, you sure you're okay? while my uncle's sitting over there being an ass going, no, she's not okay. She's blind as a bat now. So for the record, my uncle had lived with my grandmother since he was a teenager. And we learned at a very young age that when he mouthed off, you made sure that you were not between Grandma and Uncle Tony. Her aim was great. It wasn't perfect. And she tended to throw the first thing she could reach. You have not known fear until you've walked through a doorway while a cup was breaking a foot away from you. And it wasn't so much the cup breaking that was the fear. It was the calm way in which Grandma threw the cup. And then explained why she threw the cup. And threatened Uncle Tony's meals for the rest of his life when he knew full good and well there was no way she wasn't going to feed him. Actually hit him with some of the things she was throwing. Absolutely. Not feed him. She wasn't capable of that. She spent too many years feeding too many children. Not that she had too many children, but that she had... Shit. I think she had 5 children. Not all of them survived to adulthood. But at least 3 of them had children of their own. Who had children of their own. Like, it was... I think I was the second oldest cousin. I know that much. But I don't know how many there were after me in total. Because, once you got past my uncles and step-uncles and my aunts, but they didn't have kids. Once you got past them, I started losing track. But I know by the time she died, she had 19 grandchildren. And, at least 6 great-grandchildren. When she passed away, I have no idea how many there are now. I mean, there's no more actual grandchildren. Great-grandchildren, I have no clue. Because there were a lot of, steps involved in some of my cousins. Like, I think my mom is the only one... No, Mom wasn't. Mom was one of the only ones that stayed married to the same guy. And had all the children with that guy. There were several step grandchildren. A couple great-grandma had a couple of step-grandchildren. And a lot of step-great-grandchildren. She was my great-grandmother. So no, I'm wrong. There was... I got those numbers backwards, because I forgot my generation for a minute there. There were at least 5 grandchildren, because that was my mother, my uncles, and 2 of Mom's cousins. So that was 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 grandchildren and 19 great-grandchildren when she died. I knew something was off with that math. And my cousins, I have no idea how many children they have. I don't hear about them very often. I know by the time I got married, most of my cousins had not, because again, I'm the second oldest. The one that's older than me had a single baby by the time I had my 3rd child. But he was not married. He was living with his girlfriend, which, it's fine. But there's a little less security for having children in that scenario. Not always, but definitely when you're, 20. Not so much the child secure thing. But I think he stayed with her for a while. A good while. The cousins that were younger than me that I knew about, they did not. They ain't really old enough to have many kids yet. And a few of them have sworn off the idea of having children because, yeah, step-parents are not always fun. Especially when your step-parents are more sane than the parent they married. Let's just say one of my uncles should have learned to keep it in his pants a long-ass time ago. I think most of his children wound up living with their mothers, except the youngest ones. And I'm not sure if that's because he got his act together by then, or if that last wife of his was insane. Like, legit insane. I didn't ask. We live across the country from them. I was like, not my circus, not my monkeys. Stay away from people that act like Uncle Tom. Got it. You think the neon works for this one? It's a little less washed out in person, but I think the neon main works for this one. Yeah. It's where to put that horn that's going to be such a freaking problem. And this one's got, these are the wings and horn for this one. Going with, I think that worked pretty good. Obviously the wings and horn are not neonized, but I don't think it, I think it matches pretty well. Like, the colors are the same, they're just a little different shaded. And, Guru 3, that's what we're going with. Guru 3 had helped me pick out the coloring here, so I'm pretty sure there's no one in Fairy's channel that's going to go, no, tell the child no and make sure it matches perfectly. It's like, that's not how our community works usually. It's not how any of the communities that I've made these for work usually. Like, I asked Nerdy Encounters what animal to make, and she's like, I don't know. You pick. Guru's choice. Go with Guru's choice. There you go. So, yeah. They kept coming in here before I shipped off the bat to ask me when the bat was going to fly away home. Because I told them point blank that bat was not for them. While it was sitting on my desk, I'm like, nope, that's going to someone else. I've got to send that somewhere else. So, the 4 and 6 year old are like, when is it going to fly away home? Fly away home. Make it fly away home. And then I got orders from them for more bats. They're like, no, my bat. I want a bat now. And the 6-year-old points at the pink... I still don't have it out where I can find it. He points at the pink zebra fabric and goes, I want my bat like that. And it is freaking hot pink zebra striped, please. I was like, okay, sure. So that one's going to be fun. Alright, so that's the neck closed up. That was the hard one. Well, I say that, and I haven't actually bothered to put the horn on yet, so we'll find out what's hard in a minute. Or it's 12. What the hell time is it? Oh, Lord. Yeah, no, we're not getting the horn on tonight. Or I can do the horn next, and we'll get limbs later. But, yeah, we're running out of time. And I still haven't fully caught up sleep in the last couple of weeks, so... Newsflash, it's hard to sleep in a muggy house that is 80-something degrees. Who knew? I lost the thread. Here's what we're going to do. We're going to get... I can't find the flipping thread. We're going to get the horn pinned in place where it belongs. I need to put the needles away before I lose them. We're going to get it pinned in place, and I will get it sewn on later. I can't do it right now. I have misplaced the thread, and we're running out of time, so I don't want to go digging for it right now. But we will stuff some limbs, and we will pin a horn in place, and I will get it sewn on tomorrow. Let's grab the pins. Wait, I just dropped pins here somewhere. There we go. Horn. Unpinned. We need an easy bit of stuffing in this thing. And you go. And then we get to figure out where we're going to stick it on the head. That is a little more stuffing than you need. I said itsy bits, I sure meant it. Okay, there we go. So, the other horn went right there in the middle, and I think that is actually where this needs to go. So it's going to end up going over some hair, and I can't avoid that. Because any further forward, and it's going to end up in the eyes, any further back, and I'm sewing it completely on top of yarn, and that's not a good call. So we're going to pin this in place, so you can at least see it. I will get it sewn on. I will try to work on this during the week. But if I can't, we will have to sew that on Thursday. Tomorrow during the week. Tomorrow's the only day. And I don't know if I can, but we will find out. In the meantime, we are going to kill the last 20 minutes of stream stuffing things that need to be stuffed. And we will have side-by-sides of these things before I send them off. Because like I said, the last thing I've got to do is the straps on the wings and the tutus, and those will literally take me like half an hour. Possibly only half an hour for both. So, they will get done. They will get pictured side-by-side before they get shipped off. And then we start working on a penguin. No idea how I'm going to do that. I don't know how to do the hands, the feet, nothing. Though I guess if I just make this a little pointier, that would work, wouldn't it? Little penguin flap. I'll have to find out. I have to look at pictures. Because I don't know. I know the flap's not going to have the little paw pad. That's not for birdies. So yeah, I don't think the penguin's going to be hard to do. I know it's going to need a beak. That's going to be the difficult bit, because that is going to have to get put on probably by hand. Just because for the penguin it's going to go, the beak, pretend there's no hair on this, is going to go around the snout. 2 pieces of beak going around the snout, and that has to go on after this is sewn in, the gusset's sewn in. And I don't think I can do that from the inside without screwing it up, like I did the horn. We took the machine and sewed the horn on the black one from the inside before it was stuffed or attached, and I don't think I can do that with the beak. I think it's going to be too big. I can try, The worst I'm going to end up with is an extra penguin, but I don't think I can do that. That's what's going to be difficult. The wings are a piece of cake. Getting the beak on there semi-professional is going to suck. And semi-professional's a concern with things that go on the exterior most of the time. The first one I did where something got sewn on the exterior after the fact was a lion. And that was, I'm going to pull this up now. That was the lion's mane. And what I did was I took a piece of, because the mane goes all the way around the head, right? I can't sew that on the pieces before they're sewn together like I do with the horse. Because with the horse it only goes on one part. Well, the lion I'd have to go all the way around, and that would not line up very well. Once I sewed it together, I don't think so. What I do is I take a 2-inch wide strip of fleece that is long enough to go all the way around the head, and I sew the mane onto that and then sew it on after the fact. But the lion's mane covers up any crappy sewing, like, very thoroughly. It's a thick mane. I don't do thin manes on any of these because it's yarn. Like, seriously, that yarn is cheap. There is no good reason not to do a thorough job, right? It's frickin' acrylic. This is all a form of acrylic, and, you know, some artsy, craftsy snobs will tell you acrylic's not appropriate, it's not good enough, blah, 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 you're using the cheap stuff, and it's for toddlers. I'm using the durable crap. Because the first one, the actual first one I made was Baby Bear, who was supposed to be a mouse. That's not how that worked because his little leather tail popped right off. But Baby Bear is still around here somewhere. And I made him for a 3-month-old. That 3-month-old is now 6 years old. And Baby Bear is still here somewhere. I have had to restuff him a couple times, but he is still here. I cannot tell you how many times I've washed that thing, by the way. Oh my god. Like, I literally can't tell you. I stopped counting after the first 2 years. Because I gave it to a 6-month-old with an acid reflux problem. At least I think it was reflux. It was either reflux or he was getting way too much milk. Dunno, because when I asked the doctor's like, if he's not acting like he's in pain, he's fine. Because he's a 3-month-old, right? They don't pretend they're not in pain. They don't, no. When it hurts to eat, a 3-month-old is going to let you know. He spit up all the time. And then there was the added bonus of the 2- and 4-year-old brothers. That would help. I came out of a shower one day, and at this point, showering without the kids in the room with me was still new. Because the boys were all born after my daughter, and she passed away when the current oldest was 1. Not even 1. I think he was 9 or 10 months old at the time. So I had some issues leaving my children out of my sight, okay? I just did. And they were young enough that having them in the bathroom with me wasn't a problem. So about the time the oldest turns 4-ish, he wasn't quite 4 yet, I start showering without the kids in the room with me because at least one of them didn't want to be in the room with me anymore. He wanted to go do his own thing, and the baby wanted to be wherever his brothers were. Not with me, with his brothers. When the baby entertains himself quietly with his brothers, you don't argue. Unless the brother is really prone to damaging activities. Now, I come out of the shower one day, And I had stuck the baby in the jumper, the little jumperoo thing, bouncy bit, because this was a freestanding jumperoo. It wasn't attached to a doorway. And he was unlikely to crawl his way into any kind of danger there. He never did crawl out and get in trouble. His brother crawled into it and got himself in trouble a few times. It's not meant for 3-year-olds. He got his little butt stuck a few times. One of them head first. That was entertaining. Not for him, obviously. But I come out of the shower to find said baby covered in Sharpie. And he's sitting there bouncing and giggling and cackling. At about 3-4 months old. Like, he's barely big enough to sit up in this thing by himself. And his brothers also have marker from their elbows to their fingers. And the 2-year-old's got it all here. All over his mouth. He'd been eating the damn things. But the baby's covered in Sharpie. Laughing his little butt off. This was the sign that things were about to get really hectic and chaotic. And that I sorely underestimated his brothers. Very bad. It was neither the first nor the last time I found a baby covered in marker because he'd spent time with his brother. It was the last time it was a Sharpie. After that, it was child-safe washable markers. And finger paint, but that also didn't last long. Because I found the rabbit with blue racing stripes at one point. By the way, Crayola is completely non-toxic. This is useful information if you have children. Non-toxic. The washable finger paint is in fact very washable. And I managed to get it out of the rabbit with a baby wipe. Because if you've never owned rabbits before, they're not supposed to get wet. They can't get baths. That will make them very sick. The closest this rabbit came to a bath was when somebody spilled something in his cage. I think it was his water bowl got spilled one time too many. And he had this nasty little soup under the hay in his cage. Which, you know, I cleaned it out. We're fine. Take it outside, hose it down, blah, blah, blah. Problem was it was all over his rear end and feet. So I stuck him in a bathtub with 1/2 inch of water. 1/2 inch. No more. Because that was effectively the amount of water he would stand in when he spilled his bowl of his own accord. He was prone to tantrums. Whatever. But, let him sit in that tub with, like, that much water in it. While I went and hosed out his cage. And locked my son, because at the time I only had the one kid, locked him in his bedroom. He was 1. He was exactly 1 at that age. Locked his butt in his bathroom, washed the rabbit, used a hairdryer on the rabbit. Boy, he didn't like that. But I was actually terrified the rabbit was going to catch a cold in December and get himself killed. And I couldn't handle any more corpses. Pet or otherwise. It was like, nope, we're done. We're done. F this, we're done. It was not long after my bird had died, too. Because he had a messed up wing when we got him. He was a rescue bird. And he couldn't fly. Well, he accidentally tipped himself over into his water dish. And I caught him right away. The bird that was with him started flipping out and losing its marbles, so I turned around and took care of it. But it was too late by that point. He'd inhaled water. And he was an old bird. Like, the vet told me that's an old bird. So, I couldn't... He passed off. And then we rehomed The other bird was not in any kind of health hazard or danger, but he was lonely. They were cockatiels. They're flock birds. They don't do alone very well. He was lonely, and when we had the third boy, I couldn't keep him safe anymore. And I wasn't keeping a bird in the house that my kids were stressing the hell out of because he wasn't safe. So we rehoned him to a guy that had a very, very old female cockatiel who was in the same boat our cockatiel was. Her buddy had passed away, and she was a lonely bird who needed companionship. So we drove him down there, and boy did he upgrade, let me tell you. He went from a cage roughly the size of a mini fridge that I did not close except at night, because they'd lived in that cage their whole life, and part of why that one was buggered up is somebody would throw crap at their cage. So he got his wing hurt, and yeah. So I didn't shut them in that cage, except at night, because it would not have been the first time I wake up in the middle of the night, and the only reason I know there's a bird in my bed is because I can hear him. And I don't mean squawking, I mean I heard the wings. So they were not safe loose at night, not even close. But we gave him to this guy who had another older bird who lived in a cage the size of my bathroom. That cage was huge. That was a very happy rehomed bird once he got used to living with somebody who couldn't pick on. And we are pushing the point of done with stream, so I'm going to finish this foot. That is 3 out of 4 limbs. Is that all 4 limbs? 1, 2, 3. No, that's all 4 limbs stuffed. So I will get these sewn up and sewn on Thursday if I don't tomorrow. Excuse me. At minimum, I will find the supplies I need for the wings and tutus before Thursday, because even if I have to sew these on Thursday, I should have time to get the wings and tutus done on stream on Thursday. And then these will get mailed out probably over the weekend. Saturday, I want to say, because I get paid. Should get a payout before then. Twitch is showing I should have gotten paid out today, but it takes 24 hours or so to come through, so I will have money to ship these suckers out over the weekend when I go get my nails done. And, yeah, so I will see you guys Thursday, 8 o'clock. I will update the schedule below before then. Who is online so I can read them? I'll see you Thursday, 8 o'clock. Sunday, 8 o'clock, hopefully. That should work. We'll find out. But should be Sunday at 8 o'clock. And then we start Vampire again on the 29th. Saturday, 1 p.m. Texas time. I have no idea what that translates to if you're outside of Texas. I'm sorry, I'll figure it out. So we have Hyper Zen, Teal Old Man, Gink. Ooh. Sleeping Luna. Okay, so hold on. Mute. Sleeping Luna is embroidering this adorable little fox, so we're going to go raid Luna. Thank you guys for coming in. I am sorry I missed so many streams. We are working on that. And we are going to go show some love to Luna. Sleeping Luna Designs. Thank you guys for showing up. I will see you Thursday. Let's go right away. 8, 7, 6. Here we go.